Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Excitech BIM 360 surgery. And this morning it is number 58. And today I'm going to take a little look at RFIs and how they work and are configured within BIM 360. So first of all, I'm in my new possible project this morning, and I'm going to take a look at where the RFIs are located. So the RFIs come with the project management module. So if you've got build, you will have access to project management. And first of all, I want to look at project admin, and just to explain a little bit around this RFI process and how it's configured. So if we go to the services tab, we will then get access to the project management module on the left, and then it will have a couple of tabs, one for RFIs and the other for submittals. So the first one is RFIs, and we look at it, you can see there is an RFI workflow section, and the first thing to note, there is a change workflow button, and that allows you to change this workflow noted before, where we have a workflow which allows the bidirectional path of the RFI to go from a creator back and forth to a manager, and then back and forth to a reviewer. So the creator is the person that will create it. It then gets submitted into the manager. The manager can then approve that RFI and move that on to the reviewer, then to review and then sign it off or not. And if we select the change workflow, we have two different types. We've got an extra one with an additional reviewer, and if we click apply, it will allow you to add a new step for reviewer 1 and reviewer 2 into the thing. So I'm just going to go on the standard one for this example. So the way I'm setting mine up is that the creator is going to be the construction company. So this is going to be the guys out on site. And they're going to be on site, and they're going to be fitting something and see that something's not quite right. And they're going to raise a request for information based upon that. So when you go into the system as the construction company, they will have the ability to create the RFI. What happens then is that will then go to the reviewer, and the reviewer it'll get submitted to them, and they will review the RFI and actually say whether that is valid or not, and then it will go to the manager for approval. So you can see on this instance, construction company is going to raise it. It's going to go to the systems company. So that's my HVAC and plumbing company, and then the architect, who will have overall responsibility to approve that particular RFI. So I've got my usual Google Chrome profile set, so I'm going to log in as my construction company. Because I've got my RFI configured that way, I log in, go to my project, and I'm going to raise the RFI. Now, when you're working with RFIs, you can create them as project RFIs. So you can just create them on a non-based document, or you can actually create them based upon a 2D or 3D document. In this instance, I think I'll create it based upon a document. So I'm going to go to document management, and I'm going to select approved document, and I'm going to select this ground floor plan. And you can see that this takes you into the BIM 360 viewer, and then the navigation panel on the left-hand side, you have RFIs, and you have a create button. So if we click create, it allows you to place a pin on the drawing. And in this instance, I'm going to say that I want to look at this sink, and I'm going to say, for instance, that I won't need to raise an RFI based on this sink. And I'm going to say that this is M for mechanical, change to free standing sink. You'll see that under the assign to, this is where your workflow comes into play, and you select your drop down, and you will see, because I chose my reviewer as the systems company, I can pick the two people that are part of that company. So I'm going to send it to them. I can add in any co-reviewers if I need to. So you can select your list and you can pick your project members. So I may just for this put in the systems tech as well. I can choose a due date, and I can say, okay, guys, I want you to look at this by the 4th of December. And I can say due to piping, we cannot fit in this location. Can this be change to freestanding. Spelling mistake, change that. And with all RFIs, you can also add in a suggested answer if you know it. So if we know typically what that answer may be, we can add it in. In this instance, I'm just going to leave it blank. You have an attachments area. So if there's some specification, whether you want to add in some photos or files. So I'm just going to click browse, and it will allow you to either upload from your computer, or we can click into project files. Let's say go to my resources tab, go to my specifications, and I'm going to just add in the Skugdo brochure that's part of the freestanding sinks. The location I'm going to say is the restroom. And I have some impact drop down. So I can say there's going to be a cost impact, and there's also going to be a schedule impact. It's high priority, discipline. You know, you can just go interior finishes and you can pick category. And I'm going to say that this looks like a constructability issue. And if you've got an external ID, so we could go EXE001. At this point, we can also add in any distribution lists. But for now, I'm just going to create the RFI as is, and we click create. And then that then has created this RFI and then assigned it to that team. So what I can now do is if I log in as the systems guys, I can then pick up that RFI. I will have got an email notification as well. So if we add in a new tab, you will see that the email is now here. So I've got an RFI assigned to me. It needs some action. I can then view it. And we can now have a look and we can see what this RFI is. And we don't want to go to any help. So you can see it's here that I should provide an official response. So we go and have a look at it. You can see there's any attachments. We can view the attachment. It will come in the viewer as normal. So you can see this will open up the document. We can review whatever that attachment is. So you can see that I've sent this, and we can have the different pages and all that type of stuff. And what I can now do is I can look at the activity, and I can just submit the official response on this. So I can go click this button, and we could say that that is then answered. All okay, please change. And we can submit that. But what we can also do is if we are the architect, we can also log in and have a look at that as well, because that RFI will be existing within the system, and we can go in as the architect, and that will then be shown on his screen. So we can, if you've got a card set up, but in this case, we can just go straight to project management. And it will, you can see we're straight into the RFIs. There is the RFI, and you can see that, again, we at this stage could submit the official response, but we're going to click into here. So we're now back in as the systems engineer, and we're going to say, all okay, please update to freestanding. And submitted, and then off that goes to the manager. So we can then go into here and refresh our screen. So it's now been answered. We can now click into it. And because we're the final step, so the architect has looked at it. So the construction company raised the RFI. It went to the systems guys. They responded officially. And now it's left to the manager, which is the architect, to go through, and then we can finally, we're the ones that can now close and distribute this RFI to the rest of the team. So we can say, well, the architect, the civils, construction company, the engineering technician, so everyone in the team is going to get notification apart from myself and Martin. I don't need to notify myself. And we can now say that the sync now updated, and you can see all project members will be able to view this RFI. And then the final step in our process then is to close. And you can now see that this is now a closed RFI, and it's now been dealt with and tracked through the system. And because I'm the manager now, I have an option that if I should need to do it, I can now reopen and change that RFI. But you can then start to see this is the process, and you've got full audit tracking of everything that was done, when it was opened, when it was answered, who changed the status, who attached what, who it was distributed to, and you can see everything is updated and then time stamped. So if we then just finally go back to Project Home, and we can put an RFI card on the home screen if we wanted to. So you can see I've got more of the design stuff, but if we were to go customize, card library, and we were to look at RFIs, you can see then we can show whether there's any activity. We can show all of these cards if we wish. So let's put the 6 of them on, click add, click save, and then we can have a look. You can see that there's the RFI. It's listed here. This is then tracking it, and you can then see it's now starting to do some construction IQ intelligence behind it as to what that high risk RFI is. You can see that's from a previous one. It's high risk because we've not actually physically closed it, but I can just finish this session by going in, close and distribute, and then we can simply close that RFI. And if we go back to Project Home, then that card will have updated to change. You can now see there's no RFIs, but if we change it, you'll see there's none, but we can go in and click view all project, but because there's none open, you can see that this is now changing. And then this is where we go on that. So that's pretty much what I wanted to show you today. It was just the basic sort of workflow and how it all sort of starts to fit together and how you can start to then utilize this within your projects. So thank you very much for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to join me again next week for another surgery. And just before I go, there is a little bit of news that you may not be aware of. So this is obviously the Excitech BIM 360 surgery. And earlier this year, we were acquired by a company called Symmetry. And if you hover over here, you can see that what is happening at the start of 2021 is that Excitech is becoming Symmetry. So operating from early 2021, we will be joined together and operating as Symmetry. So if you go onto our website, you can see you have a lovely little flyout and you can go and then find out more. And basically we are coming together as Symmetry. So what will happen, my surgery, is that surgery will continue. It will continue on into next year. It will just be the Symmetry BIM 360 surgery. So all the videos and everything will transfer across, and I will still be live every Friday. So not to worry, it is still continuing. Just that little bit, I thought I would just let you know that we are becoming Symmetry in a couple of weeks, and together we will achieve more. So thank you very much for joining me. Stay safe out there, and I will see you all next week.